What's up, everybody? This is Los Fanboys, the official movie and TV podcast of LRMOnline.com. My name's Joseph Jammer Medina, and today I am joined by David Kozlowski.
Hey, everybody.
And we have a interesting story today. It actually comes in the form of Silver and Black. So, for those of you who don't know, Sony, for some reason, they thought it was a fantastic idea for them to take their characters that they still have the rights to make movies for and start producing other movies. That's why we're getting a Venom movie with starring Tom Hardy. I believe next year, late next year, I think is when it's coming out. And then in an unknown date, we have Silver and Black, which will follow a story that follows Silver Sable and Black Cat. It's a little weird for me because personally, I really don't know a lot about Silver Sable or Black Cat as characters. I've seen them in comics. I really don't follow them. I've never really seen them or followed them in any single storylines personally. What about you, David? Have you seen them in anything?
You know, I know the Marvel Comics characters pretty well, and Black Cat's kind of a B-level character. She's kind of an anti-hero. Silver Sable is definitely like a C-level, so I'm still not entirely sure what Sony's doing, why they chose these particular characters. Good for them. They've got an action film with two female leads, but I'm not entirely sure why they picked these two.
Yeah, it seems a little bit odd. Like, I think we talked about this in a past podcast where it felt like a power move on their part. Like, they were doing it to show that they could still do it. Like, yeah, you have Spider-Man, Marvel Studios, but we have these other characters and we'll exploit them for whatever reason. So it's weird. But we have some details that come from that hashtag show. Now, I'm going to try to break this down into very basic terms because it gets a little bit convoluted here. Now, so the main character of this will be Silver Sable, or Silver Sablinova. It's not an easy name to say, and Felicia Hardy. Felicia Hardy's Black Cat. But Silver Sable's the lead, and the story follows Black Cat, who steals stuff, and apparently steals so many things that she gets in with the wrong people, and Silver Sable is hired to track her down and to get her. It's not clear by who, but they want her to track it down, and the only reason she takes the job is because she thinks that this, like, tracking her down will actually lead her to the film's main villain, Mendel Stromm. Basically, Stromm has done experimentation on the Symkarian people and have dealt with Silver Sable's father, and she's on some sort of road for vengeance in some way. Meanwhile, because Black Cat steals shit, Stromm himself sends a couple of baddies down to take her out as well. According to this, it is, let me double check here, it's Scorpion and Tarantula. So yeah. He sends them, but they find out that Silver Sable has already caught the Black Cat. So it seems interesting to me. It's a lot of characters I don't know a lot about. But one interesting thing I did want to touch on was Scorpion. Now, for those of you who haven't seen Spider-Man Homecoming, Scorpion was seen at the ferry, doing a deal with Michael Keaton's Vulture. And at the very end, he was also shown in the post-credits scene who he wanted to kill Peter Parker at the end. That's pretty much all we know about him. It seemed like they were building him up for something. It's weird that it's for this movie, if this is indeed true. Now, the reason why it's weird is because I feel like Marvel Studios has a pretty strong hold on the way they want to represent Spider-Man lore, and they don't want to build things up in the MCU only to have it venture off into this other pocket universe. But before I get too much into the weeds with that, David, I want to hear your opinions. What do you think about this supposed plot for the movie, and is it interesting? First of all, do you buy it? And I guess, is it interesting? Do you buy it?
Well, I think it is interesting in the sense that it's a heist film, and granted, Ant-Man was kind of Marvel's heist film, but I like that Sony is kind of showcasing two female characters. I don't know where they're coming from with these villains. I mean, Scorpion is not quite a top-tier Spider-Man villain. Tarantula is certainly not. He's like level D or below. Never heard of this Stromm guy. But I like the idea that there's a MacGuffin. It's a tech. It sounds like a tech enhancement. Everybody wants it. They're all fighting each other to get it. To me, it still sounds like there's a team up in there. I still presume that Black Cat and Silver Sable are going to get together. But from the setup you described, it sounds like Silver Sable is kind of the the government spy, the bounty hunter that's coming after her. And Felicia Hardy, the Black Cat, is kind of the secondary anti-hero, which is odd because she's the more known character. So I get it. I understand it. I think it could be cool, but it leaves me scratching my head in a lot of different ways.
So what was it that the director compared this film to
a
while ago?
The director's name is Gina Prince Bythewood, and she's describing it as Thelma Louise and meets Midnight Run. So in her words, and I'll quote, I wanted to tell a story of two damaged women who are at war with each other, but need each other to survive. So it sounds like even though there might be a team up involved, they're still somewhat antagonistic. I like that description. That sounds kind of interesting to me. How about you?
That sounds really great. And actually, this sounds stupid because, I should probably recontextualize what I mean by that. I don't mean this story sounds stupid. I mean, we kind of sound stupid because we're constantly wanting new things and different things. And at the same time, we get pissed off when they pull at things that nobody knows about. It's like, nobody knows about this character. Why would they ever talk about this character? Why would they bring this character to the big screen? No one knows who that is. And yet, at the same time, we're condemning them for not having original ideas. Now, this isn't necessarily super original, but it's kind of, I feel like, an original sort of take for a comic book movie. So I'm really interested to see how this works out, female-led, kind of like a heist movie, one of those movies where you have, a few different factions kind of going at each other. You have a person in the middle who they're going after. It sounds kind of like Snatch almost, in a way, where they're all kind of going after one thing. I really like that fact. It's different. It feels a lot different. Now, as to whether or not it'll work, I don't know, or if it'll attract an audience, I don't know. That is sort of a completely different question, but based on this premise, like if someone had said, here is a movie premise without, the comic book characters as material on which it's based, I would say this sounds like a pretty cool movie. I think I'd be on board with it. Now it's a matter of waiting and seeing how they execute it.
Well, therein lies the rub, right? So I think with Marvel, when Marvel came up with Guardians of the Galaxy, there was a lot of the same discussion. Who are these characters? A talking tree? Are you shitting me? I don't think anybody believed that Marvel could pull it off. But Marvel had 8, 9 other pictures in the bank already. They had already proven that they can elevate Iron Man, that they can make a Captain America that isn't entirely jingoistic. They did some great stuff with some of their own B-level characters. But Sony's kind of doing the reverse of that. Instead of starting out and getting some of the more well-known Spider-Man villains or, Spider-Man, not Spider-Man characters, they're going right to some characters nobody's ever heard of. And I don't think they've built up the cred, at least the street cred with, their audience, their target audience, that says that they can get away with that. So either they better have a knockout script or some fantastic leads, or they're really risking themselves here.
That's true. I actually kind of respect this approach more. I think it would be easy to go for the more well-known characters, the Sinister Six, I guess, at this point, or something else. I think I kind of respect the fact that they're going for Silver and Black. I don't care about the characters, as I've said several times, but I'm interested that they think they found either a story or a director enough to sort of risk it.
Yeah. It may be smart, too, because when we had the last Amazing Spider-Man film that didn't do very well for Sony, they tried to shove a lot of stuff in there. They tried to do universe building. They tried to get an Electro character that really was far afield from the comic book character that I know. So maybe they are being really pragmatic here and, working their way up from the bottom rather than starting from the top. I wouldn't have done it myself, but, good for them. I think it could pay off if you're right.
All right, well, what do you guys think? What do you think about this potential plot premise for that hashtag show? Do you buy it? And if so, does it sound interesting to you? And what do you think about the involvement of Tarantula and Scorpion? Do you think it's going to be the same Scorpion that we saw in Spider-Man Homecoming, or someone completely different? So let us know all your thoughts down in the comments below. And people, where can the people find you, David?
So I am writing exclusively for LRM. You can find me on Twitter at LRM_David. And I'm also writing a weekly column called LRM_Weekend, which is also how you can find me on Twitter for that particular column.
You can find me on Twitter at JamTheWriter, as well as all my writings at LRMOnline.com. And be sure to check in every day or every weekday for the new episode of Los Fanboys podcast. Until next time, enjoy the movies.
Have a good one, everybody.